we're not. Yeah, we have, yeah, you can see them. Never mind. Somebody needs the phone. Somebody doesn't hear me wrong. Yeah, maybe it took us a while to get it.
Okay, Bhante, done.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about love. Maybe we start talking about love, and then maybe later then we can move to understand more kind of mature forms of love. When we use the English word love, it can stand for so many, states of our mind, so many mental states. But I think today let's try to understand the Buddhist teachings on mature form of love. So whenever we hear the term love, most of the time, what comes to our mind is, we tend to look at love sometimes as a gift that we get from others. Love is something, that we get from others. It's a gift, and sometimes it is a luck. Sometimes it is, it's a blessing. So we feel like, it's something that is coming to us, or coming to us from others. That's one very common understanding of love. And sometimes we also understand love as an, let's say, as what do you call, as and sometimes as an accident, right? Like something, we suddenly, built. And I think that is why we have this term, fall in love, right? We fall in love, because it has a sense of, kind of accidents or maybe a chance. And sometimes whenever we hear the term love, we also mean some form of entitlement, right? And so we can think that I'm entitled to receive your love, or maybe I'm entitled to receive your care. So these are the very common understanding of love, as a gift we get from others, or maybe as an, like, lucky accident, or maybe, sometime an entitlement. So this is a very common understanding of love. But I think when we look into the teachings of the Buddha, we find that love, or maybe let's say mature love, or any form of loving kindness, is actually more of an inner state, and Buddha would even say it is more like a skill that we can be developed. So we should start looking at love not necessarily as something that we receive from others, but actually as a skill that we can develop within ourselves. And then, so when we look at love in that way, we change the way we relate to love. It's something that we cultivate as a skill, and then, of course, we can radiate, we can extend it to others. And then, as a result, we may also receive some form of, reciprocal, love or care. But it's mainly something that we develop within ourselves. So it's all about, cultivating this goodness, and we all have this inner capacity to, have this loving feeling, inner capacity for this, wish of well-being, wishing the happiness of whoever, party that we are with. So we have this inner capacity for that. So it's about, cultivating that skill. So we have a capacity, but then we can also cultivate. So in this way, when we think about ourselves, we are encouraged to look at ourselves not as a recipient of love. Of course, we all like to be recipient of love, but that will happen. But actually, our focus should be not necessarily to, first of all, at least at the beginning, not try to be a recipient of love, but understanding love as an inner capacity, and then try to develop it and cultivate it, And so we are turning from a concept of a recipient of love to an embodiment of love. So we are the embodiment of love. We have the inner capacity. We can grow this. We can cultivate this, and then we have this loving, caring, and open attitude, open feeling towards others, including and also towards oneself too. And so we need to shift from being a recipient of love or waiting for someone to express their love, waiting for someone to care for us. From that kind of mentality, we need to shift ourselves to be an embodiment of love. So we don't have to wait for someone to show their love and care for us. We can actually initiate. We can instigate. So it's a very important shift that we all have to do, because when you look at ourselves as a recipient of love, and we are at the mercy of many others, because we have to wait, how others think about us and care for us and show their love to us, and we cannot be sure, we cannot really fully control how the others would care for us, and other would extend their love for us. But when we think about love as an inner capacity and a skill, so we can move from being a recipient of someone who's waiting to experience love from others to someone who actually cultivate and grow love within oneself, and then it start to spread it, start to radiate it to others. So we get more kind of agency, more kind of independence when we think about love as a skill, and then we can become an embodiment of love, and then eventually a giver of love. And so it doesn't mean that we will not receive love. Definitely, when we become an embodiment of love, when we become a giver of love, and definitely, and we will start to receive love and care from many others. But I think our attitude, our initial effort should not be to receive love, but actually to cultivate this inner capacity and then to give love. So that will help us to relax a lot, because otherwise, we think that love is something that we need to cling into, we need to try, we need to guard, the whatever love and care we receive, we need to guard it, we need to protect it, and sometimes we have fear of being loose in that love. We can have a sense of insecurity and fear of abandonment. We can have all those anxious thoughts when we are only thinking about love as something that we receive from others. But when we start to think about it as a skill, as something that we can cultivate, and then it relaxes our mind, and it also gives us more freedom and more power to produce this within ourselves, and then start to spread it and extend it to others. And then eventually, as a result, we may also receive same care and love from others. But there is a freedom, and there is a kind of inner power that we develop when we change the way we look at our love. And it's almost like our heart is more like a spring. Love is a kind of spring, or maybe river that is starting in our heart. So we become the source of love. Our heart becomes the source of love. So like a river is, first, when the river has full of water, so it can, start to flow. So we can develop this, caring and loving attitude, which means also like a deep sense of acceptance and wishing the well-being and happiness of everyone else. So and then just like the river start to flow, and we can direct this loving, caring attitude to different groups of people, different creatures and everyone, and then let this water flow from ourselves. And I think that that's a small story. I have shared this story before too, but I think it's worth repeating. Some might have heard this, some might have not. There's a story about a little girl, and this little girl is very fond of flowers, and she likes to receive flowers. So one of her uncles used to work in a flower shop. So he usually bring flowers to her, like at least once a week, he will bring this bouquet of flowers to her. And because everyone knew that she loves flowers, and so whenever there's a special occasion or special day, many, of her relatives, her family members used to send her flowers. So she started to enjoy, all these flowers. Whenever she receives it, she will accept it with such a joy, and she will keep it. She will enjoy it for a few days. So she has this, very special, relationship with flowers. But for some reason, for a few weeks, nobody was able to send her flowers. Her uncle, who used to work in flower shop, changed his work. So therefore, he couldn't send the flowers as he used to send before. So this little girl started to, get disappointed and unhappy and sad because she does not, get the flowers, as she used to get. So one day her grandfather came to see her, of course, not with flowers. And then when the grandfather noticed that she is unhappy and sad, so the grandfather asked, what is happening? Why you why you look sad? So she explained that, she has been receiving flowers from many people, especially from her uncle, but now she is not receiving, she did not receive flowers for a few weeks. And then the grandfather told her, instead of, waiting to receive flowers from someone, my dear child, you can actually start to create your own garden of flowers. So why not you start a little garden at home and create a little flower bed at home and start to plant the flowers that you like. So that was an interesting suggestion this grandfather gave her. So then, with the help of her father, actually she started a nice bed, a nice flower bed, and nice flower garden. And so she planted all different types of flowers, her favorite kinds. And after some time, actually she was able to enjoy the flowers in the garden. And then eventually she even started to give flowers to others. So she was a little girl who's actually expecting flowers from others for some time. And because of the advice she received from the grandfather, now she is someone who's actually taking care of a flower garden and planting this garden and growing the plants and then enjoying the flowers there. And then also she has enough flowers that she can even send flowers to others. This is an interesting story to reflect on how we can change the way we look at love. As in the previous case, I think so instead of waiting for someone to show their love and express their love, what in the Buddhist literature, what we find is actually becoming someone who actually cultivating love within ourselves and becoming an embodiment of love, and then later giver of the love. Just like the little girl start to cultivate her own garden and grow the flowers in her garden. We need to turn our hearts to garden of love and cultivate. So we don't have to wait, for someone to like, show their love. And then because when we start it, we fill our heart with love, and then of course we will, get care and love from others too. Sometimes actually we tend to when we start to like spread our loving kindness to other people, and sometimes we tend to think that some people doesn't deserve love, and also sometimes you think that when we start having that kind of attitude, others may take advantage from it. We have such fears actually. And then what we need to understand actually, whenever we extend love for anyone, we are not actually losing anything. Instead, actually, whenever we express our love, when we show our care, when we use our time, our energy to give some care and love for others, even when we cultivate grow this loving kind thoughts within us, and we are not losing anything. We shouldn't be afraid of to spread love, because we are not going to lose anything. Instead, we will be enhancing our own inner capacity. The more we spread, more we extend, more we show, more we take time to show our loving and care for others. What is really happening is actually we are strengthening our own capacity. We are cultivating our own inner goodness. So although we extend loving kindness to those people who we believe that who are not deserving the love, and this is not about the others specifically. Actually, when we do that, it kind of strengthen our own capacity. So that's how it actually we should look at our love. So I think today I would like to emphasize how love is a practice, because it's the kind of love that we are talking now is not something that automatically will arise in our mind. It will take some training and practice. And Buddha said that we should ultimately be able to radiate our loving kindness to all beings, just like a mother would care for her only child. And that's a really very difficult level to achieve. And Buddha did not expect anyone to start loving everyone in the world just like a mother would love a child. He did not expect anyone to start the loving kindness like that, because it's not possible. It's not something happening. But Buddha would say that that is the goal, that is the destination. One day in our practice, we will arrive at the point that we love all living beings just like a mother would love her only child. But that will be the destination, culmination of our loving kindness. But in order to reach there, we need to practice. So we need to start, we need to cultivate our loving kindness thoughts. We need to express it. We need to extend it, and we need to find opportunities to show that loving kindness. And so therefore the love, on one hand, in the Buddhist understanding, is a skill in its inner capacity. On the other hand, is something that we can cultivate. So therefore love is more of a practice. So we keep practicing. We keep extending love to everyone, and until it becomes something as really mature, and really mature. So love is growing. Its nature is growing, and it will not be the same all the while. All the time it will be growing the more we cultivate it. So therefore it's really a practice. But the issue here is actually, it will be easy for us to feeling loving and caring to with regard to really loving people, lovable people. But I think our challenge is actually how we can expand our love even to people who are not necessarily lovable, who maybe not necessarily, likable. And, Buddha say that we need to break our barriers. Usually we have, people that we like and people whom we don't like, and we have those barriers. But in true loving kindness, we need to, break those barriers. And how we can break these barriers, we need a little bit more wisdom to do that. And when we include wisdom with our loving kindness, we can slowly grow it and, break the barriers, and then have this, we can actually broaden our heart of love towards everyone. So one way we can actually broaden our love is to, actually as a part of the, love as a practice, one contemplation can help us, that is to understand that, every person in this world is actually vulnerable to suffering, and no one is completely free from suffering unless that person is fully enlightened. So we all are vulnerable to experience suffering. And at the same time, most of the people are victims of their own habits, of their own defilements. Many people in this world do not have the skill set, capacity to come out from their habits, come out from their defilements. Of course, and therefore we need to look at people more as like victims of their defilements, their habitual patterns, and also those who are vulnerable to experience suffering. So that way of looking at people can help us develop deeper compassion and empathy, and then, deep loving kindness towards them. But we need to remember that, whenever we extend loving kindness, what we are really doing here, actually, we generate a genuine wish of well-being to those people. It's a genuine wish of well-being, genuine wish of happiness to others. But that does not mean that we agree with other people. We agree with everything that other people do. So we can completely disagree with, someone's behavior, someone's, decisions. We can be completely disagree with that person, but still that will not prevent us from loving that person. So there's a big difference we need to understand here. We do not need to be in agreement with everyone in order to love them. We can be in complete disagreement with their behavior, decisions, with their opinions and viewpoints. We can be in complete disagreement, but still we can have a genuine wish, genuine willingness in our heart for their well-being, for their happiness. And then the genuine wish of, for them to be even like wiser, at least. So therefore, even though there can be people whom we cannot be angry with, but that does not prevent us from having genuine loving kindness towards them. So in that sense, actually, we can, we can start to like break barriers and keep, spreading this loving kindness and wishing well-being, and all the time, just keep saying it, keep doing it. So having that wisdom that every person is vulnerable to experience suffering, and every person is victims of their own habitual patterns, of their own defilements, can help us to keep our loving kindness intact, to help us to break barriers and keep producing this loving kindness continuously. And of course, our love, that kind of loving kindness can influence others also, and that will even help others to change themselves. But it's mainly, starting within ourselves. And then related to that, deep wisdom is the acceptance. Accepting that, others are imperfect, others are still, improving, and feeling okay with that, and not waiting, and not expecting the perfection, not expecting the always to be nice, accept the weakness of others. And that's a part of being human. That's a part of, living in the samsara. Nobody is perfect yet. So, and then accepting the weaknesses and accepting the ugliness, accepting the negative side of the other people, and saying that's okay, that's okay. They are yet to change. They are yet to, to improve. So that sense of acceptance can also help us. So therefore, and Buddha, has advised us to understand love in that way. And because it's a inner development of inner capacity, so Buddha has given us number of techniques how we can, develop this inner capacity. And one technique that we all use is actually loving kindness meditation. What we are really doing there is actually we find some verbalizations. We find some certain phrases. We have selected certain phrases that will express our willingness, our wish of well-being to everyone. And we simply repeat these phrases in our mind. And that's one technique, the simply repeating the phrases in our mind. So we can start to develop this habit that whenever, we see other people, whenever you happen to, encounter someone, before even you talk to that person, within your mind, you can repeat a nice praise, a loving kindness praise, or may you, or may this person be well, happy, or may this person feel comfortable. And you can have, that kind of wish. So let's say, someone is, coming to meet you, and whenever you see that person, even that person is approaching you, and even before you talk to that person, you can have that wish inside yourself, silently, that may this person feel safe, may this person feel comfortable, and may this person be well and happy. And having those praises is very important. Of course, words are limited. Any praise can help us, but it can be limiting. What we really need at the end is actually the feeling of love. But verbalizations and these praises are tools for us to develop this feeling. So we cannot simply, start with the feeling. It will not arise at first, but we can start repeating these praises, using these techniques, and then, and then once we keep repeating these praises, and then eventually that genuine feeling of love can arise. So that will be the one good exercise I can suggest you to become an embodiment of love. And rather than waiting for someone to express love, and you have started develop and cultivate this love, and select very important praises. There are standard praises like may you be well and happy, and may you be safe and strong, and then and those kind of praises that and may you be happy and content, may you be peaceful. And of course, in our meditation, loving kindness meditation, in our Pittsburgh Buddhist Center, we use those similar phrases. May you be well, happy, healthy, and peaceful. So we can, come up with these phrases, and sometimes it can be more individualized, praise. And Buddha has not prevented us from, inventing phrases, but it just has to be, genuine wish of well-being, and maybe something that you really, like in other people's life. Maybe you want people to, be at ease, because many people are, anxious and, unhappy and unsettled. And maybe that could be a wish that you really like everyone to be at, may. And so then you can have this praise like, may you be at ease, or may they all be at ease. So it is important that you select, or you kind of, come up with certain praise in English, and you don't have to be in English, it can be any language that is familiar to you, but it's some kind of praise that is, that you have created, that maybe you have learned from others, but it's something that you keep repeating it in your mind in a regular basis. In a regular basis, whenever you see people, when you are driving to work, for example, whenever you see other people are driving along with you, and you just make that wish, may they be well and happy, may they be safe, and then make that wish, whenever you go to your workplace, before you talk to anyone, and you can have that wish in your mind, may everyone in this place today be well and happy, may they be at ease, and may they be healthy and strong, and make that wish. Even someone coming to talk to you, before you even start your conversation, in your heart, you just take a few seconds to make that wish for this person, and then you start to talk. And you will see wonders when you start to do this, because when you become an embodiment of love, and people can feel it, and then people feel comfortable to work with you, and people feel safe to come to you, and we develop that kind of capacity within us. So we become like a spring of water, and then that can helps so many others. So that will be my suggestion to you, to become the embodiment of love, and so there can be, whenever you start this habit of repeating these nice phrases in your mind, you will see that eventually we kind of we will be able to overcome our judgments that usually carry with regard to other people. It's normal that we based on our previous experiences, based on the social attitudes, maybe stereotypes that we have absorbed from the media and from the society, it is easy that we can have some form of judgment, some kind of a sense of discriminative feelings about other people, and it comes to us because of our social conditionings. But you will notice that when you start to have this a praise that you are murmuring to yourself, you are like uttering to yourself, you are making this wish every time you are with people, when you are I'm not asking you like say it all the time, but at least when you enter to a place, when someone is come to talk to you, maybe when you are driving, and whenever you are seeing news, when you see other people in the news, and you can have that wish. And once we keep repeating this kind of phrases in your mind, eventually we will see that we will be able to overcome the habitual judgments that we are making towards other people. So those phrases, although they are limiting, although any words, any language, of course, language can be limited, but although it is limiting, it can help us to overcome those forms of judgments. And of course, I think these days, you will see a lot of news about the earthquake and many other forms of suffering around the world. So when you are looking at those news, not of course it develops some kind of compassion and empathy, in our mind. But I think we can also start produce more wholesome thoughts even when we are watching them, rather than simply responding to those things that we see. But I think we can generate thoughts and then genuinely wish well-being to those victims, even in the in the war and in natural disasters. So I think so. To give you a summary, I think what the Buddha has advised us to be an embodiment of love and start to generate this love. And what we mean by loving kindness or love or mature love here is actually genuine wish of well-being towards others. It's a willingness in our heart for the happiness and well-being of others. So we just generate that, and we are not going to lose anything when we extend or wish that kind of well-being to anyone. So becoming an embodiment, and then as a giver of love, and we become like a fountain of love. And so it's an inner capacity, and we need some form of deep wisdom to do that, to have some deeper understanding of human behavior, particularly understanding that people are victims of their upbringings, they're victims of their social conditionings, they're victims of their habitual patterns and defilements. Of course, anyone can overcome that, and if they receive proper guidance, they can overcome that. But most people do not have that kind of guidance. So many people are victims of their own conditionings, and therefore, so that kind of understanding can help us to improve our loving kindness towards others. So therefore, in order to cultivate this, create a nice praise, nice loving kindness praise for yourself, and keep repeating that wish all the time. Most of the time, when you are with people, and even when you are, when you see the nature, when you see birds, when you see other creatures, and then just repeat that nice praise in your heart. Just keep doing it, and that can really help us to grow this love. That will be the practicing loving kindness. So it's a kind of practice. The more we do it, the more we express it, the more we extend it, it will grow. It will grow. So ultimately, the more we do it, hopefully, eventually, we will be able to reach the higher level of loving kindness where the Buddha has, advised us. That's the goal that Buddha has given us. That is to, having the kind of love to having loving all living beings just like a mother would love her only child. So that is the goal that Buddha has set for us, but we can start moving to that direction. So I wish that, may you come up with your own nice prayers that you can repeat within yourself, and then, start to cultivate love. And definitely, you will receive a lot of love from others. Don't be afraid that, I'm only the giver. I'm only the, always I'm giving, I'm exhausted by giving, no one is there for me to love. Don't think that way. When you start, spreading love in that way, you will receive abundance of love from all directions. But you need to initiate it. You need to start it. So that's the way to practice love. So thank you for attention. Maybe we can have some time for questions and discussions. So any thoughts or any questions or suggestions? So suggestions? You can hear me, right? Can you all hear me? Okay. Because when you simply, staring at the screen, I was thinking, have they heard what I said so far?
Is it okay to wish ourselves well-being too, along with other people?
Yeah, thank you. I think that is Kema, right? Thank you, Kema, for that question. Definitely, Kema. I think even in our loving kindness meditation, we start, extending loving kindness to ourselves first. Yes, and loving kindness includes all living beings, and all living beings includes oneself.
Oops. I think, wait, we lost Bunty.
No, he's there.
Sorry.
Yes.
We keep getting
Yes,
an
Kema.
echo.
Yeah, it's an echo. Mhm. I think in this case, Kema, we need to look at ourselves, at least temporary, as one of the living beings, not necessarily looking at ourselves as like I, and then simply, look at ourselves as one of the living beings. I think the ourself, what we call I, is the living being that we are most familiar with. So we really need to extend loving kindness to this person, this being too. So we can temporarily look at ourselves as one of the living beings, and wishing well-being, wishing happiness, wishing ease to oneself, and then even having a praise directing towards oneself is very important, and particularly during the time that you feel anxious, you feel stress. It's really important to have a praise that you repeat to yourself, like may I may I be at peace, may I be well, and then so we can have a praise direct into ourselves. Sometimes people think that is so selfish. That is so selfish to wish oneself. But I think in real practice of loving kindness, having a genuine wish of well-being to oneself, looking at oneself as another living being, it's not a selfish thing, because once we make those wishes to ourselves, even whenever we feel anxious and whenever we feel stressful, if we can make a nice wish that may I be well, may I be strong, may I be peaceful, and whenever you make that wishes, and most probably when you repeat those good wishes, it will help you to focus your attention more on loving kindness rather than on the things that create you more anxiousness. The very praises that you are saying is helping you to redirect your attention. For example, if maybe you are waiting at the dentist office, and then you feel anxious, and then maybe you can start repeating nice praises of well-being to yourself. And what's happening there, that whenever we repeat those praises, instead of thinking about what would happen, what's going to happen when I meet the dentist, and you are refocusing your mind and to these nice wishes as a result, and you feel calm, and you feel you feel grounded, and then of course you have the capacity to wish well-being to even to the dentist or whoever you meet. So you have to start. I mean, we ourselves also part of these all living beings. Okay, Bante. So we have a few questions from YouTube, right, Bante?
Yes, Bante. 2 questions I have put in chat box.
Okay, let me repeat this question. This approach of a skillful development of loving kindness, and thus being an embodiment as opposed to waiting to be a recipient, is very encouraging. What should one do when someone has harmed us or our family in the past and may do so again in the future? Okay, so the point is that there's when someone has harmed oneself or their family and then what we have to do with regard to those people, of course, if someone has harmed you in the past, and you really have to protect yourself, definitely. Developing loving kindness does not prevent you from protecting yourself. And definitely, if there's such a person who is posing such a threat, and you should find ways to to protect yourself and not to be vulnerable or exposed to such people, because sometimes people can be unskillful and wise. But I think here you say that what should one do when someone has harmed us and our family in the past and may do so again in future? The last part, the may do so again in the future is how we project. It's not necessarily the reality. Maybe the past may be the reality, but in the future may not be the reality. I think, of course, we need to take precautions not to, expose ourselves, such threats, and make sure that, I don't know, based on what kind of harm that person has done, make sure that you protect yourself. But I think, like imagining that person will do the same again in the future is a projection. Maybe he will do that. Maybe he may not do that. So, but we cannot definitely say that. But it's always important to, how the protection, like practicing loving kindness, does not mean that you simply become like a vulnerable. I mean, you become like, the person who is not having any sense of, security and protection. I think there's another story. I think we have, shared this story many times, but for this question, we had to remember that story of the cobra. Remember, there's one time an ascetic was meditating in the forest. A cobra happened to, notice this ascetic is very calm, very kind. And according to this story, this cobra approached this ascetic and asked him to like teach cobra some, meditation techniques. So the ascetic taught him loving kindness meditation. So cobra decided not to kill living beings and only live by, the animals who are already dead. And he started practice loving kindness, and he decided not to harm anyone. And then, of course, later a group of people came to the forest, and actually they came to collect dry wood. So they want to, firewood. They came to collect firewood. So they collected some firewood. They were looking for some, something to tie this firewood. So they saw this, lazy lying cobra. The one lady who has poor eyesight thought that lying cobra is a kind of creeper. It's kind of rope that she can tie the firewood. So she took this cobra and then it started like tie that firewood with this cobra, and it's so painful to go through all these things. But because this cobra has determined to practice loving kindness, he didn't do anything. He just waited. He endured all the pain and everything. This poor lady, who has poor eyesight, took this cobra and tied the whole firewood with this cobra and make a knot. That's so painful for the cobra, but he still endured it. And then after she brought this firewood back home, and she released this the rope, which is the cobra. And now so cobra has wounded. He has so many wounds all around his body. With so much of difficulty, she approached he managed to come back to the forest and then approach the hermit and complain him that look at me, what has happened to me as a result of practicing loving kindness. I have been used, people have taken advantage of me, I have full of wounds all around me, and is this the way I need to practice loving kindness? And then the ascetic said that, I asked you to practice loving kindness, but it looks like you have practiced not the loving kindness, you have practiced the foolishness. And the cobra asked, what do you mean by that? I have been spreading loving kindness. I have been thinking all the good thoughts all the while. How you can say that I practice foolishness? And then the hermits told this cobra, when this lady, came and, and making use of you, you don't have to bite this poor lady or maybe poison. At least you have to show that you are a cobra. And then, so at least you could have, you could have fists, You could have showed your hood. You could have, fist. No, you could have hiss at that point. So then this lady realized that you are a cobra and he will not disturb you. So sometimes in our life, we need to like stand for ourselves, at least, hiss. I mean, at least we need to show our, hood. You need to show your stand. You need to show our values, our position, our values and and it doesn't mean that we are going to harm others. And sometimes we have to be firm. So just like the cobra, so we always has to balance that. So it's not, we will not be exposed or fully vulnerable. There's another question too. Dear Bhante, does the Buddha offer teachings around how to amplify this practice in order to meet the amplified level of hate and oppression that we are witnessing by governments, including ours? How is there a way to amplify this practice in order to meet the amplified level of hate and oppression? How to amplify this practice? Any suggestions?
Encourage others.
Of course, at the personal level, we just have to keep practicing, like I told you earlier, having a nice praise, repeating that, whenever we can, and then having, like a standard, maybe a meditation of loving kindness. But I think at the communal level, we can amplify this level of practice. Maybe one best thing would be we can organize a communal, what do you call, like a collective sitting, collective practice in public places. So in order to amplify, in order to meet the amplified level of faith, how to amplify loving kindness, maybe one method would be actually to organize some public events, organize some collective efforts that not one single person, but maybe a group of people come together. And then, discuss about the importance of, understanding, importance of empathy, importance of, non-judgmental, treatment of everyone. And then start practicing loving kindness meditation, so in public places. So that would be one way, we can do at the communal level. At the personal level, I think the more we see the hate and oppression, the more we need to understand how, how much people still have to, to grow. Sometimes those, people have, fair reasons, to be hateful. But I think the proper reaction, proper solution for any unfair situation is not the hate, actually. It's not really going to work. We have to find other ways to do that. So that will be my suggestion.
How about going after the source of oppression? To try to change systems.
Yes. Can you repeat that? Was there a question?
Go after the source of the oppression. Change the systems on broader level, on a level of a country.
So you're saying that it's more like a structure of the structure,
especially economic structure.
Yes, that is true. So I think you are suggesting that actually there's a larger social structure, particularly economic structure, maybe political structure, and that will influence people.
Yes.
That will influence the people, and that will influence the level of hate, or that will influence the level of love.
Yes.
Is that what we are saying?
Yes.
Yes, I have to agree. But then, of course, we can as a community, we can maybe try, to change that system. May not be, possible at once, but, maybe we can start to make small changes. But let's say that, if we cannot change those structures within our lifetime, but maybe individually we'll be able to protect our own heart and maybe influence those people around us. So I think we need to have two approaches. One is how we can protect ourselves as an individual and how we can influence our immediate community. The other approach would be how we can change such systems that promote oppression and hate, and then how we can influence those structures to change. So we can have those two levels of approaches. Yeah, but I think the second approach, like change the structure of oppression and hate, will take time, and we can contribute. We can do our contribution to that. That will take time. But I think at the personal level, we can have more success. But I think we need to have both approaches, because ultimately we need a society. We need everyone else to have more peace and love. So the social structure is very important. So eventually, definitely we need to do our part to change the structure. But I think we shouldn't lose the sight of our own well-being, what we can do at the personal level, and how much we can do to influence our immediate community. We shouldn't lose sight of that. We need to do that too.
We have with us a lady. She worked with the United Nations. I thought maybe we can do it through United Nations for some social issues to, remove some aggressions and enforce some laws. But United Nations need an army, I guess, and that's what they are lacking.
Yeah. So they had to rely on others' resources, right? Yeah.
I was wondering whether this has something to do with changing the body chemistry, the vibes. Is it something like that? I mean,
can we?
Like sometimes you have, when you see a person, you have a connection. I mean, a positive connection. Sometimes for no reason, like sometimes we don't like another person. I mean, there's no reason. But if we cultivate what you're saying, if we practice that, does it kind of bring out some positive vibes and some kind of body chemistry that that is, like the other person sees that you have positive thoughts about the other, and then there's a natural connection or a friendship or loving kindness kind of a feeling. Whether it happens naturally, if you practice.
Yes. Definitely, when we become an embodiment of loving kindness, when we, generate loving kindness thoughts very often in our heart, that will definitely change. That will definitely change our face. That will definitely change what you call, vibes. That will definitely change the energy that we are spreading, to outside world, definitely. And actually, even in one discourse, Buddha has given 11 benefits of loving kindness, and among this 11, one benefit is actually when someone keep growing or cultivating, practicing loving kindness, one benefit is actually his ambience become pleasant, and his his face become pleasant and his ambience become pleasant. So other people feel comfortable and feel approaching to you. And the other benefits are you become you become a non-threatening to humans, and you become non-threatening to non-humans, and not simply non-threatening. Actually, even become pure, you become really pleasant to both humans and non-human beings. I think at the non-verbal level, when we meet someone, there are many levels of communication. Although we don't express verbally, there are a lot of other non-verbal, more hidden ways of communicating, ways of interacting. So person who's actually practicing loving kindness quite often brings that quality whenever he enters a room, and you bring that energy to that room, and that can influence others. I think many forest monks who are meditating in the deep forest, they had to live with animals, sometimes dangerous animals, and they are rarely attacked by those wild animals in their practice. Because I think one reason would be actually, because they are a strong practice of loving kindness, the other animals who live in this jungle don't feel threatened by that monk. So very rarely we hear the attack of wild animals to monks who are meditating in the forest. So that is one good example in how our loving kindness create, what you call vibes or ambience, or that kind of, positive energy around us. And that really protects us, and that really makes others feel comfortable, and it will help others to blend easily with others and with the environment. Yes, I think your point is very correct. When we become an embodiment of love, and we definitely change. Of course, you change physiology, but you definitely change the kind of vibes, the influence, the ambience that we are carrying with you. Yes.
There is two types of chemicals in the brain. One called serotonin, one called epinephrine. There is people which have high level of epinephrine, they will be more aggressive. And the one have more serotonin is more calm. And these phrases that you repeated will raise the level of serotonin, make the person more calm.
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation. So maybe we should do some experiments on our brains when you do loving kindness meditation.
Examples from the spinal cord fluid.
Coming back to the United Nations, I mean, everybody is given ethical code of conduct, ethical behavior, all that is given in books. So sometimes maybe it's not practiced by everyone, but basically they are very repeated ethical guidelines and how to respect and how to even writing an email, how to write an email without offending anyone. So all those, keep it for a while if you are angry or if it is not a nice response that you have to give. Keep it for a while until you become positive towards the person whom you're sending it to. So I think there are guidelines, and some do practice, some probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, there are many ways actually we can express our loving kindness in our verbal behavior, in our physical behavior, even with a gentle smile, even when you write an email. So there are many ways that we can express it. Yeah, I think one thing we need to again remember is that don't be afraid, don't hold those loving kind feeling, because we are not going to lose anything by expressing it and extending it. And it's always going to be beneficial.
But there's one more comment actually related to what we have already talked about. That is it is hard to wish well-being towards someone who is actively being mean and disrespectful to you.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So say it is hard to wish what? It is hard to wish well-being, right?
To someone else who is mean.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. But let's get to the let's get to the bottom of the point. If someone has been mean to us, okay, and that person is not a happy person. The person has been mean to us, or maybe being aggressive to us, means that that person is himself is suffering, and he himself is not settled, and he's in pain. So that is why he has been mean and he has been aggressive. If we really want that person not to be mean and not to be aggressive, we really need at least to wish or find a way for that person to remove that pain, that suffering that that person is going through. So why not we at least wish that may this person be free from this pain? And then, eventual result will be he will not be mean. So his expression of being, his meanness, his aggressiveness is an expression of his inner pain and inner wound that that person is carrying. So why not we address the root and just at least make a wish that may this person be free from the pain and suffering.
One
So
thing,
when you embody love, you radiate with love. You send love waves in the atmosphere, in the environment, and it counteracts the hate waves that coming from that bad person. They said the waves of love is stronger than the hate waves.
Yes, you are creating a protective shield around you. Invisible protective shield. Yeah. Yeah, I would suggest that if you cannot wish well-being to a mean person, but I think if you really understand the real reason why people are mean and aggressive, we be able to at least wish may they be free from whatever pain that they are going through. But I would suggest that at least we can wish them to be wiser. Right? So they will not be mean next time. At least we can wish them to be wiser.
if one cannot develop or cultivate loving kindness or well-being for someone else who has done something disrespectful or mean to somebody else, Bhante, I think that at least not to cultivate and not to developing any anger thoughts, but to be in a neutral states in the first.
Exactly. Then
I think, as Bhante said, that then we can think about the person or the one who has done something wrong. Why? Then we can analyze in which kind of circumstances or the background why he has done this. Then, Bhante, we can create some kind of some well-being or loving kindness thoughts.
Yeah, I think, Bhante, having a gradual approach is very important. Yeah, and maybe maybe first stay neutral and then slowly build loving kindness. And that is why even in loving kindness meditation, and Buddha has even recommended us, don't start with the angry person to start your loving kindness. Start with a friendly person. And first generate your loving kindness thoughts to the people who are friendly and nice. And once you develop that, once you are strong enough, only at the end you can maybe try. You may not be able to, but you can try. So the gradual approach is very important. Yeah. But if you cannot still do that, that's okay. It's a practice, and you can aim to do it next time. Don't worry about that. And Buddha did not expect everyone to be at the perfect level of love at the beginning.
Bhante, I hate you. I don't like you. I am jealous of you. I take a stone and I throw it on you. Are you going to throw it back at me? I keep throwing stone at you.
Yes. Yeah. But you know, I didn't feel them as the stones.
Well, next time you come here, I'm going
Yeah,
to-
let's try. Let's try. You know, let's try. You know, you can. But
you know, next time you come here, I'm going to slap you on your bald head. What you going to do about it?
yeah, you know, I will have my protective shield of loving kindness. Although you approach, do so. At the last moment, you will give up the idea.
And Mark, both of us are also here, so
Okay, Bante. So I think you know. Can we conclude the session now?
yes, Bante, there's some other comments from our yoga teacher Deepani. So let me read it. It would be beneficial to analyze why someone thinks the situation is oppressive. It is because one doesn't like what is happening and doesn't agree with the situation because one is biased of their ideas or whatever the authorities are really doing harm to many.
Oh, I think she's making a very important suggestion. You know, sometimes oppression, you know, what we see as an oppression, maybe what we see as a, the oppression. I think she's suggesting us to reevaluate, you know, why we interpret certain situation as oppressive. So I think she's asking us to reevaluate and see sometimes the things that we don't like, we may label them as oppressive, but sometimes may not be, right? I think it's a good suggestion to reflect what we really mean by oppressive. Are they really oppressive or simply we don't like it? That's a good suggestion.
Yes, but I think now we can conclude the session because I think it's a midnight in Sri Lanka, almost 1 a.m., right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Bante. Yeah. Yes, Bante. Yeah. So I think, you know, so it's nice. It's a good time to like conclude, but I'm so glad that you all, you know, came and participated. You know, I know it's a winter, but, you know, I'm so happy to see so many nice, happy places, happy faces. I think, Bante, you can do a short a loving kindness meditation, maybe short one. Maybe the loving kindness chant, especially we can, you know, dedicate this practice to all the victims of the, you know, recent earthquake. You know, maybe we'll spend a few minutes together listening to the loving kindness chants and wishing well-being and healing to all the victims of that, you know, unimaginable, you know, disaster. Maybe we can conclude our session that way. So, yeah, can you do it from that side, Bante? So let's, you know, turn to the Buddha statue, and we will spend this time. And today we learned about, you know, the mature form of love, and you know, we know that there are so many people around the world who are going through such difficult times, and of course in Syria and Turkey, and also in other places in all around the world, you know, including Ukraine and also many other places where, you know, people are going through a lot of economic hardships, particularly during that time. You know, a lot of people are going through such difficult times. So I think today, let us take this moment and dedicate these few minutes to think about those people and show our empathy and at least make a wish that may those people get a chance, get an opportunity to overcome those challenges and difficulties. And may the people, the victims of the earthquake, may they find some release, some relief, some solace in their life. And may they receive enough help, care, and love from all around the world. And may they feel strong and courageous. And with that wish, we will listen to Bante's loving kindness chant, and then spend a few minutes in loving kindness.
Let's spend a few minutes. You can adjust your body and relax. Wholeheartedly be in the present moment. I'll be chanting a healing chant with the loving kindness wishes, and I'll ring the bell. Be with the sounds. Untu sabbepi paninu. May all those who are suffering be free from suffering. May all those who are in fear be free from fear. May all those who are grieving be free from grief. May all beings be well and happy. Spend few seconds generating loving kindness to all beings. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Be peaceful. Be peaceful. Be peaceful. May all beings have happy minds. May all beings have happy minds. May all beings have happy minds. May all the victims of this natural disaster receive healing, strength, and courage. May all of them be well, happy, and peaceful. Gently come out of the meditation and gently put your palms together and place them against your chest. Let's spend a moment to feel grateful for this wonderful day, having this spiritual event in our lives, practicing meditation, listen to the talk, all these spiritual events. Deeply feel grateful for this opportunity and deeply feeling grateful to all the teachers and who helped us to spend this wonderful spiritual day. Deeply feel grateful to everyone else. Appreciate the support. Deeply feeling gratitude. To conclude our session, let's say sadhu 3 times together. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay.
Thank you. Teruvan Saranai to everyone. Teruvan Saranai.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, our friends who joined our YouTube and also who put their questions and comments and actively participated. Thank you, everyone, and wish you all also good health. And also our friends. So we are concluding our live streaming now. Thank you, everyone. See you in next session.
Okay.